Ever get that feeling that your favorite coffee shop, that clothing store you love, and even your bank all kind of sound the same? Well, today we're going to decode why that happens and, more importantly, how AI is helping the smartest brands out there find a voice that's truly their own.
So let's just dive right in with a question I bet you've thought about. You're scrolling through your feed or walking through a mall, and you just notice how many companies sound almost identical. It's a real thing.
And you know what? It's not just in your head. In the marketing world, there's a name for this. It's called the sea of sameness, and it is a huge problem for any business that's trying to make a real connection. It's that feeling when a brand's message just dissolves into the background noise because it sounds like everyone else. So, what's at the heart of all this? It really boils down to something we call brand voice. The easiest way to think about it is like a brand's personality. It's the consistent tone, the specific language, the story it tells. It's not just what they say, but the whole vibe behind how they say it. Having a unique voice isn't just a nice to have, it's a core business strategy. For starters, it gives you instant recognition. People hear it and they just know it's you. Then there's resonance. It's about building an emotional connection that goes way beyond a price tag. And finally, it reinforces trust, creating credibility every single time a customer interacts with your brand. Okay, so we've established a unique voice is critical. So how on earth did companies try to figure this out before AI? Well, let's just say the traditional approach was a whole different ballgame. For decades, this was a slow, painful, manual process. I'm talking about teams literally collecting competitor ads, reading through entire websites, and analyzing paper brochures one by one. It was a slog, and frankly, it only ever gave them a tiny little snapshot of the big picture. And that old way, well, it had some pretty fatal flaws. First, it was super subjective. It all depended on one person's opinion. The scope was also incredibly narrow. But maybe the worst part, by the time the analysis was finally done, the market had already changed. The insights were already out of date. But now, everything has changed. This is where artificial intelligence, and more specifically a field called natural language processing, or NLP, has just completely flipped the script. It's created an entirely new way of listening. Just look at the difference here. It is night and day. Instead of taking weeks or even months, AI can deliver insights in real time. Instead of just looking at a few ads, it can analyze thousands of data points from every single channel. And it swaps out that subjective human bias for objective, data-driven analysis. It's a game changer. So how does it actually work? Well, it's not magic, it's a systematic process. First, AI looks at tone and sentiment. Is the language positive, negative, playful, serious? Then it actually detects the specific emotions being triggered, things like trust or maybe urgency. From there, it clusters themes to find the words and ideas that get repeated over and over. And finally, it benchmarks your voice directly against your competitors, showing you exactly where you overlap and, more importantly, where you're different. Okay, so AI can crunch a mountain of data. That's cool. But how does all that information actually help a brand stand out? This is where the analysis turns into action. Let's make this super concrete with a real-world example. We're going to look at a direct-to-consumer apparel brand that was really struggling to make a name for itself in an incredibly crowded space. So this brand used AI to analyze all of its competitors' ads and social media posts. The results were pretty stunning. A whopping 70% of all the messaging out there was hammering just two themes: fast fashion and being trendy. I mean, the entire industry was basically shouting the same thing. So, seeing this enormous, glaring gap in the conversation, the brand made a really bold pivot. They decided to own the complete opposite narrative. They built their entire brand voice around sustainability and durability, and they summed it all up in the simple, powerful idea: style that lasts. They found that wide open space in the market and they just claimed it. Now, of course, AI isn't a silver bullet. It can miss tricky things like sarcasm, and there's always a risk of focusing so much on your competitors that you start to sound less like yourself. But the key is to manage these risks. You combine the power of AI insights with smart human judgment, and most importantly, a really strong connection to your brand's own core values. All right, let's bring this all together. Let's focus on the big takeaway here. What does this massive shift in technology really mean for building a brand today? This right here is the most important part. Using AI to analyze your competitors isn't about figuring out who to copy. It is the exact opposite. It's about getting a crystal clear map of the entire market so you can find that one spot where nobody else is standing, and you can make it authentically, completely your own. And that leaves us with this one final thought. Technology can give you the map. It can show you the open terrain and point out where everyone else is all clustered together. But the destination, what your brand actually stands for, what you truly want to say, at the end of the day, that still has to come from you.